Ghana, Algeria, Senegal and South Africa, all these Group C teams have hopes of qualifying for the quarterfinals of AFCON 2015. So far it's been a dramatic campaign for the group and all teams have a mathematical chance of progression. We analyze the ability and confidence of the teams ahead of their final group stage matches. Well, hello and a very warm welcome to MatchPoint this Saturday, where the focus is African sport from all perspectives. I'm Mahe Mutua, also coming up in tonight's show. Kenyan boxer Rayton Okwiri takes to the ring later tonight against Turkish opponent. And Iraq beat Iran on penalties to reach the Asian Cup semis. Well, now we begin with an update from today's Africa Cup of Nations match where Cote d'Ivoire went up against Mali. That match ended a few moments ago at 1-1. Cote d'Ivoire were on the back foot as early as the 6th minute when Mali scored through Bakary Sako with a low goal to the bottom corner. But the Ivorians then equalized in the 86th minute through Max Gradel. So that match in Group D ending at 1-1. So now following the first match of the day, Cameroon are preparing to take on Guinea at the Estadio de Malabo tonight. German coach Volker Finke was boosted by the return of his team captain Stefan Biya. The indomitable Lions drew their opener with Mali 1-1. Their opponents tonight, Guinea, also drew 1-1 in their first match against Cote d'Ivoire. The result against one of the continental favorites is a welcome change for the team to be noticed for what is happening on the pitch rather than off it. Guinea has been training in Malabo as they prepare for an uphill battle against another fancied side.
I think it's a normal situation. Yeah, you have 23 players, only one player injured. This is normal, and I think also that yesterday in the evening and in this morning we had 2 training sessions with good concentration, good intensity. And this is why I think the team is ready for the second game.
We're not here to send a message or to show anything to anyone. We're here to play, to qualify for the second round and to give joy and happiness to the people who are struggling in Guinea.
Well, now Ghana have clung to their hopes of qualifying to the quarterfinals of the Africa Cup of Nations thanks to a goal in extra time from captain Asamoah Gyan. The Black Stars beat Algeria 1-0 in a game which didn't have many scoring chances. The win marks coach Avram Grant's first victory in charge of the Black Stars since he took over the job in November. Katrina Vitozzi has more.
There hasn't been a lot for Ghana's football fans to cheer about, but thanks to Friday night's 1-0 victory for the Black Stars over Algeria, there does seem to be a certain spring back in the step of many. After last year's lacklustre performance in the World Cup, the Black Stars, as well as their new coach Avram Grant, had a lot to prove going into this African Cup of Nations. However, hopes were dented after the team lost in their first group game against Senegal, and throughout much of Friday night, with the scoreline at 0-0, it looked like the Black Stars would be booking an early plane ticket home. But thanks to a last-minute goal by captain Asamoah Gyan, it took the Black Stars to 1-0 at full time. The captain Gyan missed the first game against Senegal due to malaria. He's now fit and back, and his goal-scoring habit is certainly welcome to fans.
And Asamoah is a very nice striker because he's a very strong, a very hard worker. But sometimes he's just disappointing Ghanaian people. But as for today, we have a big thanks to him.
In the first match, Asam Juang didn't play, and you see that we need him in the field. But today you can see him, and he is back, and everything is working out okay. So I'm very happy for Asam Juang.
The way he came into the game, he was so eager to win the game, for Ghanaians to be so happy, because every day they are talking about the Black Stars, what they are doing. They are not giving us, they are not performing well. So when Asamoah Gyan came on the pitch, he was playing wholeheartedly, he went all out, and I think he did very well.
There's now everything to play for in Group C, with all the teams with a chance to go through to the next round. Their fate will be decided on Tuesday as Algeria take on Senegal and Ghana face South Africa. Katerina Batozzi, CCTV, Accra.
Right, so following that result, Ghana moved level with both Algeria and Senegal at the top of the group of death, Group C, with a win each. Africa's top-ranked team, Algeria, seemed happy to play for a draw after beating the Bafana, but the loss means their progression is all but certain. Fans back home had this to say.
I was shocked that Ghana was able to score a goal in the last minutes, and this was not expected.
The Algerian team played a good match for me, but Ghana was the strongest.
The Algerian team has a problem in the offensive line and missed a valuable opportunity to qualify.
The coach does not have adequate and effective changes, and that is why we lost.
Well, still on the Africa Cup of Nations and the group that we've been focusing on, Group C, that will go down to the wire. Senegal are top of the group with 4 points, followed by Ghana and Algeria. South Africa is still in with a chance of qualifying, but they will need a win over Ghana while hoping Senegal can also beat Algeria in the final group games. But the Bafana fans are still convinced of a win for them, as our reporter Dan Williams found out.
Gearing up for the big match in Vilakazi Street in Soweto. Bafana supporters here knew one thing: their team needed to beat Senegal, or an AFCON that had promised so much would likely fall prematurely flat.
It's a must-win game, in fact. It's a must-win game for us. That's why I'm here with my flag, not a jersey, showing the South African support.
Come on, man. It can only make sense that they're going to go all the way and win this. They have to win the AFCON Cup. We've done it in 1996. We can do it now with young stars and Sheikh Mashaba as our coach. I'm believing it. I'm believing in my people.
Once again, Bafana impressed in the first half, giving the fans hope. And then early in the second half, a moment to savour as Opa Manyisa opened the scoring for South Africa. But the smiles soon turned to despair as 13 minutes later, Senegal equalised. And that's the way it stayed, a result that leaves Bafana's AFCON hopes hanging by a thread.
We're hoping that we beat Ghana. Actually, we believe in that we shall beat Ghana. And Senegal has got to beat Algeria. Then we're through. Yeah, but we don't like being in this position. But hey, what can we do?
I mean, we had so many chances and we couldn't bury, any of the chances that we had. I mean, if you want to win games, I mean, you need to take your chances. I don't know what happened. I mean, we were solid defensively. We were solid in our middle. I don't know what happened to our strikers.
So South Africa once again failed to hold on to a lead and pay the price. They still have a mathematical chance of reaching the knockout stage, but it's a big ask. Dan Williams, CCTV, Soweto, South Africa.
Well, it is called Group C and it is the group of death, but as yet it is still anybody's for the taking. So now to give us some more insight into this group, we're joined live by Dan Williams in Johannesburg, as well as Omar Khairala in Cairo to discuss the team's prospects. Thank you both for joining us. Dan, we'll start with you. The Bafana's fate is now no longer in their hands after that draw. Do the fans in South Africa believe that they can still pull through?
Well, we heard a few positive voices there, didn't we? But on the whole, I think that the wild enthusiasm that surrounded South Africa before the tournament, well, that has very much subsided now. Of course, before the tournament, South Africa on this 10-match unbeaten run, and Sheikh Mashaba and the team just could do no wrong. Now, I think there's almost the reality has sunk in that this is very much a different proposition. This is tournament football, and at this level, you have to take your chances, and we've seen that South Africa just have not been able to do that here, and the team have come under a lot of flack. The defence has now come under a lot of flack, and Sheikh Mashaba is also now having some pressure put on him. He feels that the team should have scored 6 goals already. That hasn't happened. So as though many of the fans are very much praying and hoping that they can somehow find a way through, I think there's also the reality is that they also, many of them now know that it's going to be very unlikely indeed to see South Africa progress to that knockout stage.
All right, let's go to Omar now, who is an editor at kingfoot.com in Cairo. Omar, Algeria came to the tournament as favorites, but so far they haven't been very convincing, especially against Ghana, losing 1-0 at the end there. What do you make of their two games so far?
Well, I think the team is not playing at the same level they were playing in the World Cup, which is really obvious. They're not as motivated. They're playing just for the sake of representing their home country, which was very clear at the last game against Ghana. They were playing for a draw, which cost them heavily when they conceded in the last minute. However, they're really lucky that their fate is still in their hands 100%. If they beat Senegal, they're through. And Islam Slimani, their striker, is returning to the last game, so they still have a decent chance of qualifying to the quarterfinals. But to be honest, if they perform on the same level that they did last night against Ghana, then I don't see them going through or winning the tournament, since they are they're expected to win it.
All right, Omar, thank you. We'll come back to you in just a second. Let's go back to Dan. Dan, obviously there has been talk about how the young South African team has been impressive on the ball, building up to the goal, but they have not been able to finish. Surely this will bode well for Coach Shakes Mashaba. Even though they don't qualify, he might still have a job, won't he?
Yeah, I think that on the whole that's not really in question. After all, he did manage to get South Africa to this tournament, and there was a lot of fear that that wouldn't happen. And he's reinvigorated the South Africa brand. 6 months ago, I don't think that if South Africa played Senegal, that they would have taken the lead and looked as impressive as they have done. So there has been a massive shift forward for South Africa, I think it's fair to say. But there has still been criticism of Shakes Mashaba on the whole. They wonder whether there's enough technical expertise. There's some critics saying that perhaps Shakes Mashaba has managed to bring back the passion and the pride, but maybe not enough expertise around his people, around his technical team. So there's a bit of a concern over that. They wonder whether a more astute football brain perhaps would have gone more defensive, having taken the lead, of course, in both of the two games so far. But that criticism on the whole, as I say, I think is a little unfair given the massive improvement that has happened. I think it's just, as we've seen many times before, that there's always this buzz around this side that, oh, we're going to win this, when really that was probably more or less unlikely. And the key for Shakes Mashaba, the key for Bafana, is that they've got a long-term vision. For them, it's all about the youth coming through. It's a very youthful side. And now that they've decided to go with that kind of policy, now they have to continue that and stick with it as they look to qualify for the 2018 World Cup and future World Cups thereafter.
Right, and coming back to you now, Omar, obviously this Cup of Nations, the qualification process all the way to the tournament in Equatorial Guinea was the build-up on a brilliant 2014 that the team enjoyed. Do you think that this failure to qualify for the next round would be failure for the team?
Definitely it will be a failure for the team, and it will be a massive disappointment in Algeria, especially after the brilliant World Cup that they had. The team, they're lucky to have very good players and players that are available, or one of the best players in each and every position on the field. They have Yassine Brahimi, who's a fantastic playmaker. He was voted as BBC's and Kingfoot's African Player of the Year. They have Islam Slimani and Soufiane Ferrouli. So the team as a whole is expected to deliver. So if they don't deliver, or if they don't at least reach the semi-finals of the tournament, it will be a massive disappointment for the team and for the nation as a whole, since they are the tournament favorites for the first time since they won it at home back in the 90s.
All right, final questions for you both gentlemen. Dan, I'll start with you. South Africa obviously went to the tournament with the highest number of locally based players, that is players who play on the continent here in Africa. Is this a factor for them, especially in a group which has players who are top rated all over Europe?
Yeah, I mean, it's also slightly down to Shakes Mashaba's design. I mean, he left out Talani Serrero, for example, who plies his trade in Holland for Ajax Amsterdam and helping them towards the league title there. And you wonder whether perhaps that experience would have been actually quite useful, given what happened, taking the lead twice and letting that both slip both times. So it is down a little bit to design. But clearly, football is one of the extreme examples of market forces. If you have the talent, then in every likelihood the top teams will come calling, and that isn't the case with South Africa, is it? They all play, as you say, for the most part here in South Africa. As I say, he has left a few overseas players out, but they don't play for the top leagues. If you look at Algeria, for example, those players for the most part do play in Europe's top leagues. South Africa's just don't. We've seen a couple of examples, the likes of Egypt in years gone past, where they play all of their football locally based and end up still winning an AFCON. But that is more rare than not. And I feel it's something that Sean Bartlett, the former South Africa striker, has talked about in the past. It's time for these South Africa players to go overseas if they can, to find that experience, to get better coaching. That's what Sean Bartlett is saying. And you have to wonder whether that is the case. But let's not be too harsh on this. There is a chance that South Africa could still make it through to the knockout phase and of course win the tournament, and then we'll all be saying that Shakes Mashaba got it bang on. So let's maybe not be too judgmental just yet.
All right, gentlemen, unfortunately that's all the time we have for you both tonight. Thank you very much for speaking to us here on Matchpoint. That was Dan Williams joining us live from Johannesburg in South Africa, and Omar Hairala joining us live from Cairo. He is an editor at kingfoot.com in Egypt. Well, it's time for us to take a quick break here on Matchpoint, coming right up. Kenyan boxer Rayton Okwiri takes to the ring later tonight against Turkey's Onur Sipal in a pro boxing fight. Welcome back. Now for Kenya, gold has predominantly been won in the athletics arena, especially in long distance running. This time around, a welterweight boxer is dishing out the punches, hoping for the title of champion. Kenyan Rayton Okwiri will later tonight face off with Turkey's Onur Sipal in an AIBA Pro Boxing inaugural bout in the welterweight category. The match is an eagerly anticipated one considering the top shape of the two boxers. Leslie Mirungu has the report.
Glory for Kenyan athletics has mainly been from long-distance running. Recently, that has changed with one boxer taking his spur to the next level. Kenya's golden boy Rayton Okwiri made his big debut into professional boxing after knocking out the match-fancied Austrian Marcus Nader in round 2 of their 6-round match. Okwiri, who won gold last year in the Lions Cup in Sri Lanka, said on Thursday that he is confident ahead of his match against Turkey's Onur Sipal, scheduled for later tonight in Baku, Azerbaijan.
I know all the tactics. I can fight, rough up my opponent. I can box and outmatch them, and also use their mistakes to defeat them. This is something I've been doing for a long time.
The bout between the two is a rematch and is an eagerly anticipated one after Turkey's Onur Sipal still remains unbeaten in the tournament. The match, which will see the winner take home $2.2 million with a surety of $1.5 million in case of a loss, is the biggest one for Kenya's Okwiri.
It is the biggest bout in my career.
It's the biggest bout in my career. I have never fought such a big fight. I have faced world champions, so to reach where I am in the title fight, I have defeated champions. And same case for my opponent, so we will meet for the fight, and the one who wins will be crowned the world champion.
So yeye ameshinda champions, na mimi pia side yangu nimeshinda champion. So tuna meet katika hiyo title fight.
Africa now has its hopes pegged on Okwiri after the only other African from Morocco lost his super heavyweight match to Germany's Eric Pfeiffer on Friday.
I feel poor sana because I'm the only welterweight.
I feel honored because I am the only welterweight from Africa. In Africa, I think we are just two playing for the title fight, me and another boxer from Morocco in the category of super heavyweight. So I thank God for this chance because it is not easy. I am also happy and proud to be where I am.
Okwiri's coach said he had to adapt the Kenyan pugilist boxing style so as to prepare him for the match against Sipal.
I have been reading the opponent's signs from the match they had with Okwiri before, and I have changed Okwiri to adapt, and I'm sure if God grants him health on that day, it'll be a win for us.
Okwiri will take confidence from winning the last round of his first bout against the Turkish on 2 of the 3 scorecards, and the top-level contest tonight will be a delight for the watching fans. Leslie Mirungu, CCTV.
Let's get some tennis news now from the Australian Open. Novak Djokovic entered the 4th round of the tournament for the 9th year in a row with a 7-6, 6-3, 6-4 win over Fernando Verdasco on Saturday. The matchup was interrupted by a romantic gesture with one fan proposing to his fiancée in the stands. An affirmative answer got the action back underway at the Rod Laver Arena. The Serb top seed had already quickly regained his composure to take the first set 7-6. He then blitzed through the other two 6-3, 6-4 to advance. Also on the day, Kei Nishikori bounced back from an early scare to win his matchup with American Steve Johnson. The Japanese 5th seed won 6-7, 6-1, 6-2, 6-3.
It's a great confidence booster if you are on the court where you have great memories and you won the tournament 4 times. And it's not any tournament, it's Grand Slam, one of the 4 most important events in our sport. So yeah, I'm trying to always have that in the back of my mind, the great performances I had over the years, and try to use that in my advantage. Some singing for my mom's birthday today, obviously a special day. I dedicate this win to her, and I'm grateful to the crowd for joining in the wishing the happy birthday with the happy birthday song. It was nice, you know. These are some nice moments.
Meanwhile, Wimbledon champion Petra Kvitova was knocked out of the competition, beaten 6-4, 7-5 by 19-year-old American Madison Keys. Also on Saturday, Keys won to reach the 4th round of a Grand Slam for the first time in her career and set up a last 16 clash with fellow American Madison Brengel. The American teenager broke the Czech 4th seed at 5-all in the final set of the 3rd round match. Kvitova, who won at Wimbledon in 2011 and 2014, has never made it past the last 4 of the Australian Open. Last year, she dropped out in the 1st round at Melbourne Park. Well, it's time for another quick break here on MatchPoint, but still to come. Iraq beat Iran on penalties to reach the Asian Cup semi-finals. Well, to the Asian Cup now, where fans were entertained Friday at the Canberra Stadium in a game that has been dubbed as one of the most. Haji was sent off the pitch after a minute to halftime after simulating an injury from being pushed by Iraq's goalkeeper. Iraq, however, showed their might in the second half after Ahmed Yassin equalized Iran's first half goal in the 56th minute. The 3-all stalemate that came after 30 minutes of extra time came to a close with a penalty shootout where defender Salam Shakir scored the winning spot kick, giving Iraq a win over 10-man Iran. The game ended 7-6 in favor of Iraq. Now, one of the sporting clashes of the year is expected to take place in the pool. The most successful Olympian of all time, Michael Phelps, is expected to return to competition in March this year. Waiting for him will be South Africa's Chad Leclos, who memorably beat Phelps to gold in the 200-meter butterfly at London 2012. And it appears Leclos can't wait to resume the rivalry, as our reporter Dan Williams found out in an exclusive interview.
back to work for the freshly crowned king of the pool. Chad le Clos' list of achievements in 2014 was impressive, even by his own glittering standards. His trophy cabinet swelled thanks to 4 gold medals at the World Short Course Championships, as well as double gold and a 7-medal haul at the Commonwealth Games. Add to that, he was the FINA World Cup Series winner and FINA Male Swimmer of the Year. It was an astonishing return.
Well, I think 2014 obviously for me was by far the best year I've had. You know, many people have won Olympic gold medals before, but only a few have won the World Swim of the Year. So in many ways I compare it to the Ballon d'Or of football. So it's awesome to think that, you know, I was voted the best swimmer in the world. And you know, it's motivated me to just be better this year.
That motivation will be important as 2015 is crucial. The World Long Course Championships in Russia takes on extra significance, given the Rio Olympics is now just 18 months away. That means less competition and more laps of the pool.
Yeah, you know, I've always maintained that, you know, you do all the hard yards the year before the Olympics, so it's a really big year for us. And, you know, that the work has to be done now to as you said, reap the benefits in 18 months' time.
That prospect does not appear to overly concern le Clos. He knows exactly what is at stake.
You know, I was in Cape Town for New Year's, and, you know, when 2015 came, it felt different. You know, it almost felt like Olympics was near. You know, and it's crazy to think that it's a year and a bit away. You know, and you know, I think that really got me excited. You know, I came back here on the 2nd. The motivation is definitely burning harder than ever.
And there is one other incentive for le Clos. There is the very exciting prospect that le Clos will once again race against his idol Michael Phelps later this year, with Phelps expected to return to competition in March following a drink-driving ban.
Too sure exactly how many World Cups I'm going to be doing this year, but if Michael's coming back for the Paris one, I'm pretty sure Chad le Clos is going to be in Paris to race him. So I always want to race the best in the world, and Michael is always going to be up there. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens in the next couple of months leading up to Rio, and yeah, hopefully he can be back for that, because it's going to be exciting.
Le Clos has become the undisputed king of butterfly. Phelps and others have their eyes on that crown, but the South African is unlikely to give it up without a fight. Dan Williams, CCTV, Pinetown, South Africa.
Well, and on that note, that's it for this edition of MatchPoint. Remember, you can send your feedback to matchpoint@cctv.com. That's our email address. You can also visit our Facebook page, CCTV Africa, or stay in touch on Twitter. The handle is @CCTV News Africa. Thanks for watching. I'm Mahe Mutua. We'll leave you, as always, with some images from the sporting highlights this past week.